Don't even get me to starting. Don't even get me to start to lying. That's what I want to say. Don't make me lie. I hate when people say that. How am I making you lie, man? Don't make me start lying. Okay. What's up, people? My name is Tim Black. Welcome to the Tim Black Show. What's going on? How you doing? Welcome back. Good to see you. What you got on my 40, homie? I see I got my people up here. What's up, Buck Bewley? How you doing, fam? Buck Bewley is my moderator in the chat. Thank you, Buck, for doing what you do. Yes, we are back again. We are live. The volume looks like it's okay. A little late, but we are still present. The space shuttle has not taken off yet, so we're okay. What is up? What is up? What's up? My people on Facebook, my people on Twitter, come through and touch down here on the YouTube channel. Give us a like on YouTube. Let me get my banner up while I'm thinking about it. Never too early to hit the like button. It don't cost a thing if you got that swing. You got to keep the motor running, man. Brothers running on gas fumes. So what say you people? All right, so anybody who's new, who happened to just scroll by and saw that flashy, hellified, creative thumbnail and said, let me stop by and see what this is. This is a U.S. and Politics channel. U.S. politics, breaking news, and black culture. We try to put them all together, create the Tim Black Show. It's a robust conversation on political issues in a way that's kind of different than most mainstream or that you even find in independent venues. Yes, we've been doing this for a number of years here on the YouTube channel, though we are still somewhat obscure. We do our best to put foot to hind parts. Hind parts, Tim. We try to kick some butt, man. We ain't playing with them. What's going on to my regulars, my people on YouTube who frequently come through and say what's up and do their best to show up. I want to say what's up to the Tim Black Wolfpack. The Brian Shelbournes. What's up, Brian? How you doing, fam? Wilsons. What's up, Wilsons? Robert Dalton. What's going on? Robert. Great commentary. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate you, fam. And you even start talking yet. Robert said, great commentary. See, that's the type of brother I need in my corner, man. He's going to will it into existence. You know, a lot of people on this show know about Mrs. Black. Mrs. Black is my wifey, right? And one thing she tells me, Tim, you gotta speak it into existence. I'll be like, okay. Money. Now, I'll be thinking health, happiness, prosperity, but you know what I'm saying? But just milestones for the business, what we're doing here in TTL Media. That's the name of this. That's mine. I own that. TTL Media. Tim's Take Live. That's what it came from. Wow, Black Mambo's in the house, putting it on the board and once again doing what she does. Appreciate you, Black Mama. And thank you for joining us over at the Patreon. Tim's Take Live Patreon. Tonight's show is brought to you by presidentialimpact.com. Presidentialimpact.com. Man, I need to make multiple copies of myself, man. I got so much work to do. My eyes bigger than my stomach. So I have some big eyes. Presidentialimpact.com. I wrote an ebook, free. And it's about what presidents can do to cause change in this country without waiting on Congress. Because there's been quite a discussion about what can presidents really get accomplished without Congress working with them. And I wanted to answer that question. I sought out to answer the question. And then I said, well, you know what? I want to share this with everybody. I don't want to just make a video. I want to write a book. People can download the ebook and share with friends and know what I know. So what's up, guys? Y'all ready for a night of rabble-rousing? rabble-rouser. That's from like the 30s, right? You a rabble-rouser? Who said that, man? Who's called people rabble-rouser? You gonna get us in trouble, Tim. Master don't like when you be thinking for yourself. They don't like when you think for yourself, Johnson. They really do not like that. Uh-oh. Black man thinking for himself. Uh-oh. What you doing thinking? You need to listen to what we tell you to do and do that. Can't have you going around thinking. D.L. Hughley, could you get in here? The Negroes are starting to think for themselves again. What do we got you for if you're gonna let your Negroes think? Steve, I know you ain't gonna just stand there and not do nothing. I told you, black men are thinking for themselves. What we let you get where you have been. It could all go away, Steve. It could all go away. The hair implant, all of it. Gold digging wife, everything gone. Get to stepping. That's the Democratic Party talking to D.L. Hughley and Steve Harvey, y'all. There are people that love this show, and there are people that love this show. If you love this show, hit the like button, share it with a friend, let them know you're watching Tim Black Show. We do not hold back. All right, you guys ready for it? Let's jump off. I'm going to start here, man. I'm just going to start here because I got to start here, man. God, so I got 3 stories, right? But sometimes less is better. Because I get to, like Buck and I was talking about this. You know, when you got less stories, you dig deeper. You get more focused. You you dig up more truth. You punch them in the mouth. Then you punch them in the mouth again. I ain't scared of these stories. All right, so first off, we want to talk about a populist show. Let's call it a populist show. It's called Breaking Points. They had a conversation about author, modern intellectual, Ta-Nehisi Coates. And it was about a book he just put out. He was interviewed on CBS Mornings. And let's look at that clip and you'll understand what we're talking about. Then we'll get to the Breaking Points clip. So, slow down, Tim, everybody. You ain't got to rush, man. You're amongst friends. Okay. I'm going to reset. Y'all okay? All right. This is a coffee, man. I got the caffeine in me, okay? We're going to talk about Ta-Nehisi Coates, who was talked about on Breaking Points. And I got to address this. A couple people sent it to me. I saw the good brother, Iromi Olsen Frimpong. He talked about it. We're going to get off into it. But first, for context, you need to know what Breaking Points was critiquing. They were critiquing Ta-Nehisi, the cultural journalist / author / modern philosopher, what have you. In a new book he put out about Gaza, Palestinians. So here we go. Let's go off into that first. Let's do that first, Tim Black. Here we go.
Ta-Nehisi, I want to dive into the Israel-Palestine section of the book. It's the largest section of the book. And I have to say, when I read the book, I imagine if I took your name out of it, took away the awards and the acclaim, took the cover off the book, the publishing house goes away, the content of that section would not be out of place in the backpack of an extremist. And so then I found myself wondering, why does Ta-Nehisi Coates...
Someone said, Tim, you stop the videos too often. I think I stop them too less. I think I should stop them more. Can't let all these points pile up. Put it this way. This guy just said you wrote a book that should be in the backpack of an extremist. He's saying he's putting out terroristic materials. Extremists, they don't mean people that like to wear pants that's too tight on their butt. Nah, it ain't somebody with a fashion faux pas. It ain't somebody stuck in the 80s with their wardrobe choices. When he said your book could be found in the backpack of extremists, he's saying them jihadi type people that blow up stuff will be radicalized off your book. Your book would be like their Bible that they would carry with them when they go do their dudes. Do you realize what this guy just said? Look at him. Look at him. Like he's all responsible, respectable. Hey, Tana, he said, how you doing, man? Good to see you, bro. It's good to have you back. Look, man, let me just talk about your book. You're trying to kill people. Yeah, so I think a lot of times we sanitize stuff because it's done with a veneer of, white people stuff. It's all professional and buttoned down, and it's got on a nice white shirt, and it's talking with his hands. But he's saying really some dangerous things about Ta-Nehisi Coates, man. The last thing you want to hear, I don't care who you are, but particularly if you black, and I think Ta-Nehisi is, I don't know if he's Muslim, I don't know, is that you radicalizing extremists as in terrorists. I don't even know if I should have started with this to start off the video. I may get demonetized just saying the word. This guy just said he will. Let's keep going.
Content of that section would not be out of place in the backpack of an extremist. And so then I found myself wondering, why does Ta-Nehisi Coates, who I've known for a long time, read his work for a long time, very talented, smart guy, leave out so much? Why leave out that Israel is surrounded by countries that want to eliminate it? Why leave out that Israel deals with terror groups that want to eliminate it? Why not detail anything of the first and the second intifada, the cafe bombings, the bus bombings, the little kids blown to bits? And is it because you just don't believe that Israel, in any condition, has a right to exist?
Well, before you answer that, Ta-Nehisi, since you got to be respectable, can I answer for you? All right. Tom Cruise. Listen, man. Tall Tom Cruise. Listen to this, man. The reason why this book is not what you say it is, it's because it's written for the victims, not the assailants. Yeah, so the book is written from the perspective of the people that are suffering, the most casualties, the people that are being wiped off the face of the earth. So it's written from their perspective. If I wanted to write it from another perspective, it wouldn't be written from the victim's perspective. That's first thing. Second thing, bro. If you check a terrorist or an extremist backpack, you might find a CD of Tupac. Or maybe a CD of Fight the Power. Public Enemy comes to mind. That don't mean they're encouraging extremism. People listen to stuff. Get what I'm saying? So what you said is like gaslighting, total gaslighting, everything, to set up everything's gaslighting. And one last point before we move on and let Ta-Nehisi respond. The same way we wouldn't look at what Nat Turner did. You know, when you say cafe bombings, Antifa, Antifa, the same we look at slave uprisings. Same way to look at different areas, different times when America became America, how America broke free of the British, the American Revolutionary War. The way we fought for that, that's the same thing. We wouldn't look at that as, from the perspective of the British, it's like, gosh, these are some ungrateful bastards. These cretins are very violent. So it all depends on the perspective. But Ta-Nehisi Coates is writing this from a perspective of the Palestinians. All right, Ta-Nehisi, take it from here. Abs nothing. Thank me later.
I would say the perspective that you just outlined, there is no shortage of that perspective in American media. That's the first thing I would say. I am most concerned always with those who don't have a voice, with those who don't have the ability to talk. I have asked repeatedly in my interviews whether there is a single network, mainstream organization in America with a Palestinian American bureau chief or correspondent who actually has a voice to articulate their part of the world. No. I've been a reporter for 20 years. The reporters of those who believe more sympathetically about Israel and its right to exist don't have a problem getting their voice out. But what I saw in Palestine, what I saw on the West Bank, what I saw in Haifa in Israel, what I saw in the South Hebron Hills, those were the stories that I have not heard. And those were the stories that I was most occupied with. I wrote a 260-page book. It is not a treatise on the entirety of the conflict between the Palestinians and the Israelis.
But if you were to read this book, you would be left wondering, why does any of Israel exist? What a horrific place, committing horrific acts on a daily basis. So I think the question is central and key. If Israel has a right to exist, and if your answer is no, then I guess the question becomes, why do the Palestinians have a right to exist? Why do 20 different Muslim countries have a right to exist?
My answer is that no country in this world establishes its ability to exist through rights. Countries establish their ability to exist through force, as America did. And so I think this question of right to Israel does exist. It's a fact. The question of its right is not a question that I would be faced with any other country.
But you write a book that delegitimizes the pillars of Israel. It seems like an effort to topple the whole building of it. So
maybe it's not a book for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, every book is not a book for you. You know, someone could write a book about people I find reprehensible, such as Klan members or skinheads or something. You know what I'm saying? And they could write it from a perspective of skinheads or a guy who was raised in a family of people who believed a certain way in a small town, and what they went through, how they grew up, and the stuff they saw, and what they were indoctrinated into, and what they suffered, and whatever. And it might not be a book that I might personally be like, why'd you have to write that book? Who cares what this Nazi, neo-Nazi, or skinhead or Klan member went through? Who cares? Like, I don't want to hear that. Let's talk about the victims of hate crimes. But the person who wrote that book decided to write it from that vantage point. And I shouldn't be like saying, you wrote a book that's like a biblical, like a memorializing skinheads or whatever these people are. You wrote it from that perspective, and you had a story to tell that you felt was unique and not in the marketplace and not often told. And you got a little bit of credibility or whatever you wanna put the book out. Now, that's how I see it. I don't have to agree with the book. Is Ta-Nehisi Coates in a book saying, do some damage to people, hurt people? Or is he telling a story? Is the book, if that book exists, where someone did this coverage, some people will find it interesting. Is the book promoting that? Is it promoting violence? That should be the only question you have. You should not be censoring whose point of view we want to take up, because stories need to be told, fool. We can tell stories. We don't have to worship or idolize harming people or any of that. Like, you don't have to, it doesn't mean that just because you tell a story. If that's the case, all them damn movies of black people getting their asses whipped that I've been subjected to my entire life under the guise of it's good for America to understand what happened in America, none of that should have ever taken place. There should have never been no damn Roots, 12 Years a Slave, none of it. Right? Because all of it's depicting black people in a certain way. And there are black people that feel the same way you feel. But the person who created that book was not idolizing, romanticizing, or patronizing that evil. They were telling the story of the people that were impacted by the evil. Get what I'm saying? So I know this guy, I don't know, I guess it's no creativity, or is it just he's got to play his role and be the one person. He's got to be the side that's going after Ta-Nehisi Coates, who decided to write this book. He's got to, he's got to make him walk through fire and explain himself. Why would he feel he could be able to express this? Once again, from him visiting a place and seeing stuff. Also, it's okay to go to a place, see some stuff, just don't talk about it. Honestly, about what you saw. If it's an apartheid state, dude, it's an apartheid state. What's he supposed to come back? Oh, I know, come back and go, kumbaya, everything's fine. People were holding hands, separate but equal. That's what he's supposed to do, make you feel better, so you feel warm inside. Like a big hug. That's why evil is allowed to persist, because it gets sanitized by people like you who are cowards to the truth because it's inconvenient to your narrative. I'm not even I have never read a Ta-Nehisi. I read his essay years ago, but that's it. Never read his books. To me, it was too close to Obama. Yeah, it's like he was kissing ass. To me. I'm way more radical than Ta-Nehisi Coates, so I wouldn't even flinch at whatever you're talking about. But let's go ahead to the next point. So now that goes on for a little while, and dude gets his clock cleaned. Because Ta-Nehisi expresses himself well as far as why he decided, which is an absurd claim, like he got to explain to dude why he decided to write a book from the, what the whole book's not even about that, as he even pointed out. But it's called The Message. So anyway, the reason why I'm covering this story is because of what I'm about to share with you now, which is a segment from Breaking Points. It had Crystal Ball and Sagar and Jetty are having a conversation about that interview, and it gets a little heated. And Sagar shows his true colors. He loses his mind completely about Ta-Nehisi Coates. And I think it's a great jumping off point to make a statement. Here we go.
But evocative in terms of taking you into the life of written. It's, extraordinarily provocative not provocative, but evocative in terms of taking you into the life of a Palestinian, living in Israel or living in the occupied territories. So it's important, but it's not really new ground. What makes it incredibly important is because of who he is and the fact that he's allowed into these rooms. So that was the opening question out of the gate. I have another clip that I'm going to show you, which is basically the rest of the interview. Also, these formats of like 5-minute interviews are so absurd. Ridiculous. But I want to get your reaction to that before we move on to the second piece. I just thought it was wild. That's a wild thing to say. As I literally said, I don't like Ta-Nehisi Coates. I genuinely I think he might be the godfather of a lot of the race problems that we have today. That's not an exaggeration in terms of that essay, The Case for Reparations, single-handedly radicalized every white.
Listen to what he just said here. And I don't think Sagar has thought through. I hope by this point, because there's been a number of people who have spoken to this video, who have done their own analysis and commentary. Hopefully, he's done some self-reflection. Sagar, do you realize what you're saying here? Do you realize how out of touch and how racist you sound? Like you sound extremely racist. And not even that, you sound worse than racist. You sound extremely dim-witted. And gaslight, like your gaslighting is at Chernobyl, like thermonuclear meltdown. Nuclear meltdown, like, yo, you just said that this guy, Ta-Nehisi Coates, is about 40-something, like 44. I don't know. You said you blame racism on him. And you said, I literally mean that. Sir. And look, man, I appreciated the times I came on Breaking Points back in the day with you and Crystal. I appreciate that, man. That was dope. It was nice to be able to go local right here in D.C., 20 minutes from my house and come on y'all show. Just wish things wouldn't have fell apart when I got tired of your friend. But put it this way, dude. I've been black my whole life. My parents been black their whole lives. The racism that we've experienced had nothing to do with Ta-Nehisi Coates. And the fact that you can make a dumb statement like that, like a very ignorant statement, and then stand on it. And you're about to use some white girls in your dorm or something, in your college, that listened to read his essay and felt bad about racism. That's how detached you are. Dog, you just made it. And I don't want to say you made every brown person cringe. Like, I'm like, what the hell is this guy talking about? But I can only imagine other people of your descent going in America who would not even be able to do what they do in America if it wasn't for black people going through the hell we've been through. And we got a guy like you sitting up there in your suit and tie, married to a white woman, sitting next to a white woman, and nobody coming to get your ass. Because of us, dog. Us. My people did that for you. And what do you say? The race problem in America is because of Ta-Nehisi Coates. Not because of racist. Not because of institutional racism or nothing else that has happened in this country, but because of some guy who slid out his mother's uterus in the 1980s. You actually sat there and said that dumb shit. Do you realize how brain dead that is? I mean, I thought Joy Reid was an idiot, and she is. I thought Rachel Maddow was as far as hypocrisy can go, and you have beat them both with a stick. It ain't even close, man. This is one of the worst takes. I don't even think Sean Hannity would say no dumb shit like this. I think Greg Gutfield looks like a BLM supporter compared to you right now. Like, real talk, man. You actually sit here and blame Ta-Nehisi Coates for racism because somebody let him publish in a magazine he don't even own an essay. Do you realize how dumb that is? He wrote an essay that was published in an Atlantic, which is a white organization-owned periodical newspaper entity. They allowed him to publish. They published it for him. Save without them, it never would have saw the light of day, at least not at the scale that it was. And you're saying he's racist for writing it. Save nothing of the institution that published it and gave it light. Even if it was deemed, even if somebody agreed with you, that some way possible. This motherfucker sat there, he didn't say, he didn't say all of the blaxploitation films. He didn't name all the blaxploitation films that were used to ridicule black people and shame black people and depict us as less than human for 200 years or 150 years. He didn't name none of them. He named an essay written in 2004 or something, 2008 or something. I mean, that's really dumb. You went to good schools. Then you go like Rutgers. Man, what a disappointment. If you don't see how bad, I mean, I'm going to keep going, guys. I'm sorry, but I had to get that off because I don't know if I've heard anything dumber said by a person who has an audience and who has credentials in independent media. And you're a populist. Yeah, you don't value black people, man. You don't value us at all. You're not a populist. You are super duper conservative. Life for you exists behind white eyes. You're not even white. You're whiter than most white people I've met. You make my white friends look like Wesley Snipes. You are, and I mean, I'm being sincere, man. I know some white guys who didn't even grow up around black people like that, who don't say stupid shit like this. I mean, this is really dumb. Let him keep going. Let him keep
girl
going.
on a college campus who eventually ended up working at the New York Times. They has problems that we have today. That's not an exaggeration in terms of that essay, The Case for Reparations, single-handedly radicalized every white girl on a college campus who eventually ended up working at the New York Times, behest of the BLM movement of all.
Hey, you know what this sounds like, guys? And this sounds an awful like maybe Sagar wanted to date some of these white girls who shot him down. Maybe kiss a few frogs trying to find his princess. Yeah, it sounds like a couple of white girls didn't like your politics, Saga, and you took offense to that. They were just too liberal for you, and they didn't want to give you the cookie. Yeah, it sounds awfully personal. Yeah, it's a bunch of white girls that was on college campus, and they were the BLM movement. Oh, God, they cared about other people besides themselves. Oh, Lord. Oh, gosh. They didn't want to sleep with you. They had different preferences. Oh, God. Oh, no. I mean, that's what it sounds. It sounds like this is because as angry as you are, it sounds very selfish. It sounds very personal. You're like naming like a group of white women. Dog. When we talk about racism, we're not talking about white women. Instead of you wondering why white women cared so much, you ever ask why Indian men didn't care at all, like yourself? Yeah, won't you question them Indian dudes like yourself, who without us wouldn't even be able to rent an apartment in the Trump Tower, doofus? I mean, I'm just keeping it a buck, man. Let's be honest here. You can get degrees. You can't get no empathy, no common sense. You can learn a lot in the book. All right, y'all.
All this other nonsense that we have today. So I really do find him a villain in American politics. That said, I don't even like him, and I would not open with a question like that because that's wild. It would be an interrogation of the book itself, and not to say something like that would belong. What did he say? In an extremist
The backpack of an extremist.
That's an insane thing to say, and especially considering that guy didn't disclose a lot of his own biases whenever it comes to Israel. So that's another problem, I think, that was going into that. Do you want to listen to the rest of it?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to respond a little bit to
Sure, go. Yeah,
I mean, I disagree with the race pessimist view, but I don't know, to be so like call him a villain and evil and like causing every racial problem in America is crazy.
That essay was the godfather of the anti-racist movement.
I mean, he's allowed to have a perspective and write what he wants. That doesn't make him a villain.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to acknowledge that, like, you know, racism in America and that this continues to be a legacy that matters today. There's not, like, that's a noble thing to do. So the fact he comes to a different conclusion than you or I, of course it's noble. No. That he comes to a different conclusion than you or I don't know, you're villainizing him in a way that's not that different from the way Tony DeCoppolo is here on CBS.
I would say it to his face, and I also wouldn't call him an extremist. I would say, I think your case for reparations basically was the reason that we have all this DEI bullshit, and that you effectively radicalized a bunch of white liberals into thinking that racism is the single biggest problem in American life.
So you would blame Ta-Nehisi Coates
absolutely.
Over, the police that murdered George Floyd, over Donald Trump and all of his many provocations. I mean, I just think that to like lay the blame at the feet of one person is sort of insane.
Ta-Nehisi Coates' case for reparations, again, is what radicalized a bunch of white liberals into thinking that burning the country down because a single cop murdered George Floyd was a good idea. Or for everybody to start quoting Martin Luther King and this all bullshit about like the riot is the voice of the unheard. All of that stems from him and his case for reparations.
That is crazy.
I'm not the only person who's thinking
that is crazy to lay the blame. Okay, again, he's allowed to hold his political positions that he has, and he's allowed to make, you know, a case in the Atlantic magazine or wherever for whatever he wants to make.
He shouldn't. He should. Go
make him more of a villain than a police officer that murdered someone for doing nothing is, to me, wild. But anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the rest of this interview because this is all.
Yeah, man, that's disappointing, man. And you know, man, I don't know, man. I mean, Jesus, what else can I say? I think I said everything in the beginning there. Dude, you blaming a black guy. A brown-skinned man blames a black man for what rich white men created. A system created by rich white men. You're not even complaining about the system. You're complaining about some white girl's reaction to it. Because you know, black people are like furniture, so furniture can't control narratives. We didn't even have civil rights till the 60s. What are you talking about, dude? So us writing about it in 2000, 40 years later, that's the race problem. Damn, dude. Yeah, man, you know, people wear this term populist. It's just another word for anything except race. What you just say, it just means we care about everything except race. You know? Well, I tell you, man, I'm starting to have a problem with these uppity people that come here who if anything, man, your video radicalizes people. This video is radicalizing. It's radicalizing me. I'm losing it. I'm about to lose my mind. I'm about to be radicalized because of Sagar's idiotic take about Ta-Nehisi Coates, who I'm not even that huge of. Like I read his thing, I thought, because I do think there's other things that need to be addressed, but not for the reasons that you see. I think there are things that we need to address that's beyond racism. It's not because I don't believe racism exists and I don't believe it's a problem, but I think it is, and I disagree with Crystal. I think it is unfixable. Unless we overthrow the government, unless everything changes systemically. Because I'm not talking about how Crystal may feel about me personally, or what some white guy I don't know thinks about black people in general. I'm talking about systems that control people's lives and have an outside influence or impact on the safety, the longevity, and the happiness of black people. That's not an individual white person throwing something at the screen because they saw another interracial couple in a commercial for Tide. That doesn't concern me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm more on the economic tip, bro. That's where I'm at now, because all things being equal, that's how we make restitution in this country. And I'm not just talking about reparations. I mean, I'm on black people need to get their money up. And how can we best do that? And we need to look at policies that impact us. I want black people to get treated just like white men get treated. I mean, that means when we start looking at elections, we start looking at people in power, we start looking at where the money at. How is this going to increase our standard of living to provide for our families and create a sustainable future for our children? And not be worried about somebody bringing us together so we can hold hands on all that BS is saying about Kamala right now about she can unite us. I don't want to be united. I want to be able to pay my bills, just like every other American wants to pay their bills. And there are women that are emotionally going to be catapulted into the extremes of anything because they're built different, you know, and they don't like to see suffering. You know, and that's just empathetic people, and there are men the same way. You know what I'm saying? But then there's some of us who already, it's not that we don't feel that, we're already logically looking at the step, how do we avoid these things in the future? And I keep coming up with money to a certain degree. I know it don't solve everything. But anyway, that's where I'm at on this, guys. I could say a lot more, but when I met Saga, he was a very decent guy. So I'm very disappointed in this because I never thought of you that way, Saga. I've had criticisms of certain content, but I never felt that you were less of a human being. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never thought that. So anyway, well, we live and we learn. Teach old dog new tricks every day. Guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. What is Saga talking about? I didn't take him out of context. His context is fully represented. Crystal had the same take, like, what the hell? I disagree with her. I'm a pessimist. I agree with Ta-Nehisi. We ain't fixing this. No matter how much you think we are, Crystal, because you brought Tim Black on this show 3 times. You ain't fixed my family. It didn't fix my life. It didn't fix my business. See what I'm saying? That's how race is. I did my part. I brought on the black guy. You know? I brought on O.C. Frimpong a couple times. I brought Tim Black on. We had Joy on, and Brianna Joy Gray on a couple times. And we all just got together. But then when it was time to build your business, the multi-million-dollar business that it is, where those people at? Not that you have an obligation to do shit, but see, that's how it is. That's why I say we need to have our economics up, because all that kumbaya only goes so far. And let's face it, you bought a song because we added something to the show that you didn't have. And once you realized you didn't need it, that you built a big enough base with the whites, it was fine. And I'm just saying, this is the function of our system. This is how our system rolls. So that's why I'm a pessimist, because I've been alive too long not to be. Because I know how things go. I've seen them go the way they've gone. Only a fool lives through things, sees things, and doesn't accept reality. Because no one's put on this earth to try to make other people happy and build them up. You know what I'm saying? And so we have to build ourselves up. And Black people need to focus on our best interest. Similar to how Breaking Point's focused on its best interest. So basically, F them kids. You know what I'm saying? That's what you did, and that's what it is. And I didn't want to say the other thing. Anyway, guys, like I said, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Man, I did not expect that to get heated. I mean, it didn't get really heated. It just got really honest, true, and like nitty-gritty to a level of kind of uncomfortable. But, hey, man, it is the truth. It is exactly how I feel about it. Let me know what you guys think. Not to be outdone, folks. There's been some talk about some stuff that Donald Trump said and J.D. Vance said, and it's always something they say. Man, these guys, they just own the news cycle. Every time they say something, it goes bonkers. But check this out. This was about FEMA. So here goes them complaining about Donald Trump and J.D. Vance about the FEMA money.
Money just like they stole it from a bank. They stole the FEMA money just like they stole it from a bank so they could give it to their illegal immigrants that they want to have vote for them this season.
This was a tragic hurricane. This was maybe the worst hurricane we've ever had. And he's got no money. And we said, what happened to all the money? They were given billions for this. He spent it on illegal migrants coming into the country, a big percentage of which are murderers.
So that was who spouting nonsense and lies about the federal response to Hurricane Helene.
Let me get this right. We got to jump over. Everyone has to jump over hurdles and say Kamala correctly, or people have a hissy fit, like Jonathan Capehart. But Kamala is a vice president. She wasn't elected to be president. No, but she elected to be DNC nominee, Democratic nominee. But Trump is a former president, elected in his primary, and you can't even be bothered to say his name. And folks, that is the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party and the corporate media, Democratic media complex, the media machine of the corporate Democrats. Let that sink in and think about how that don't make no damn sense. So it's always, don't do what we do. We do what we want to do. You deserve any disrespect we give you. But if you disrespect us, if we want to flip and twist and create a narrative where you have disrespected us, we get to act offended and attacked. In clutching of pearls. He even saw some video off doing that. Knowing damn well.
The Charlotte Observer editorial board condemned Trump's rhetoric, saying it fractures the reeling community at a time it needs healing. Also, because of Trump's lies.
It condemned. It's a newspaper. It's not the Roman Catholic Church. It's a for-profit, liberal-leaning newspaper that has written scathing articles about Donald Trump in the past. When I looked up this video, when I looked up the article, I found other articles they've written throwing him under the bus several times. So they don't like the guy, I get it. Condemns. as if they are like the authority or who should be condemned. Maybe some of us think the FEMA should be condemned. I know a lot of us think MSDNC should be condemned. Let's keep going, Johnson.
FEMA had to create a whole new webpage to debunk the dangerous statements about the agency's work.
Why did he say they had to make a whole new webpage? They had to make a whole new webpage. Unga bunga bunga. Unga bunga 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 bunga. We gotta build this webpage. Oh. Beep. Dumb dumb. You push a button, create page. Wake up. They had to build a whole webpage. Like people had to move stone. Like it took a, what are you doing? My father died building that new webpage, man. He worked so hard on it. For 30 seconds. You sure it wasn't the coke he was doing in the bathroom that killed him? That could have been it. Gaslighter extraordinaire Jonathan Capehart. How do you get a job? Every time I see Jonathan Capehart, that's the first thing I think. They still employ this guy? Who has he been sleeping with?
Joining me now to sound off is my great panel, Maya Rupert, former campaign manager for Julian Castro and former senior campaign advisor for Elizabeth Warren, and former Illinois Congressman Joe Walsh, 2020 presidential candidate and director of the Social Contract. Joe is also a member of the Republicans for Harris Initiative. Maya, Joe, thank you both very much for coming to the Sunday show. Maya, you're the newbie here. So your reaction to Donald Trump saying all that nonsense and lies and I can't curse. It's Sunday.
Curse.
Well, I don't think we need to curse. I think what we can say is that it's dangerous. And I think that's the most, that is the way we can condemn it the most. This is a community of people. People are dealing with displacement. They're dealing with shortages. This is a moment that a country should come together. And the Republican nominee for president is going out of his way to scare people. And he's lying.
No, I think the hurricane is what scared people. Scared people? What's her name? Rudolph? Who she work for? Julian Castro? Yeah, I don't think people were scared of Trump. They were scared of the hurricane in the floodwaters and losing everything. Yeah, I don't think that the fear in his natural disaster are the words of Trump at a rally somewhere. I know you would like it to be, because that kind of diverts attention away from the current administration, who should be moving heaven and earth to take care of those people. But yeah, nothing for nothing. I don't think that's it. You know.
None of this is true.
Right.
It is easily provably untrue.
Right.
But he's doing it because he...
Hold on, what you mean none of this is true? Okay, so let's say FEMA was given $100 billion. When I think FEMA, I think one thing: disasters, natural disasters. That's what I think. Okay, that's what I think. I didn't have any idea that they spent some of that budget. They took some of that 100. Let's say they took 25 billion of it and put it for migrant sheltering. I thought migrant sheltering was strictly a DHS thing. I didn't know it came out of FEMA budget. See how people look at this? The same way you would look at it. Let's say you're married, Miss Rudolph. Let's say your husband makes $100,000 a year. Let's say he uses 2,500 of it to take care of Chicky on the side that you didn't even know he was taken care of. How would you feel about that? Would he be cheating on you, or would he be able to say, hey, that money ain't got nothing to do with you? That's separate. Case closed, face closed. And by the way, FEMA money is our money. That's taxpayer money, lady. And nobody checked with us to see what we thought about it. No one said, hey, I didn't get a DM, an email, nothing. Weird text on my phone? Nothing. Check it with me. Let me see. No text from FEMA asking if it's okay to take a quarter of the budget and spend it on immigration. So if the money wasn't spent there, would they still have the whole amount and be using that for the disaster recovery? That's the point. And you know what? I hate when you guys do this because I know you understand what I'm saying. I know you get it. You just don't want to get it. The butt hurts of the butt hurts.
Thinks he can get a political gain from it.
And yet on that, Joe, isn't he doing it because he feels he's getting a political gain from it?
Oh, absolutely. Look, I won't curse either. He's
Oh God, I don't know if I could sit through this guy. Hey guy, Joe, Mr. Super excited to be anywhere. Listen, Joe, when Democrats like yourself start worrying and start holding some accountability for all the lies you've told to black people, for instance, all the super duper lies about how you had our backs and how you're gonna support us, and how Joe said, hey, Joe Biden said he would never be president if it wasn't for the black people, and he's gonna do everything to pay us back, and then proceeded to not do anything to pay us back. And as for Trump, maybe he's got something stuck in his craw about that big ass lie about Charlottesville. The whole good people on both sides that you guys perpetrated for, I don't know, 7 years, you lied about it. Yeah, it's election season. People are going to use stuff to their advantage. But at the end of the day, it's got nothing to do. This is not what's hurting people. You guys are trying to use his statement for your own political gain, to demonize him. So he used the allocation of FEMA funds for undocumented immigrants that people didn't even know they were doing, that you don't publicize until he said something. You guys been operating like that was not an issue. You took money off the top and put it over there instead of putting it all into this one bucket, which is why I guess that's probably why people didn't want to put so much money into FEMA, because they knew that the money wasn't all going for American citizens. Maybe they knew it was going some other places. But I digress because I cannot prove that. But what I'm saying is you guys do a lot of gaslighting. And that's what happens. Now, so I disagree with this. I disagree with this. This is bogus. But here goes Corinne at the press conference today, responding to Ducey about this, and this is going to be rich.
Which is dangerous. Because
everything's
to the
dangerous.
Impacted area.
That's the scripted word. They send out these emails for all related DNC heads, private chat, whatever, and they give you the talking points for the day. And the talking point obviously for this day is dangerous. What Trump did was dangerous. I don't know, man. I tend to think Hurricane Helene is more dangerous than Trump. But see, that's the lack of equilibrium, the lack of logic that the Democratic Party possesses when they're trying to go after Trump. Like, regular people see through this like, huh? This guy's words and opinions about the way you handle money at FEMA, you're saying that's dangerous. No, the danger is the damn hurricane that killed probably thousands. Right? But no, the danger is Trump's saying stuff about it, because that puts people in danger. Really? I thought they were in danger because their house went down a hill, because they lost their house in a mudslide, because they don't know where their parents are. They're missing. I thought that was the danger.
To the impacted areas, but instead people want to do disinformation, misinformation, which is dangerous. Because then when folks on the ground hear that,
you wearing Joe Biden's suit jacket is dangerous. What are you doing wearing this suit? That's what's dangerous. It's dangerous when you mention, what is she even talking about, Johnson?
then when folks on the ground hear that, they may not want to ask for the help that they need.
What? You think because someone said that you guys took money and spent some of that money over there, that for which they did do? They did that. The Congress didn't say, hey, we're going to aggregate this money for this and this money for that. They gave FEMA money, and FEMA cut the money up and put some of the money over here and some of the money over here. That's what happened. But regardless of any of that, you mean to tell me you actually want to sell us that there are people that are stranded right now who are not seeking help from the government because Trump said something? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, if there is one moron going, I don't want no food because Trump said something, so I'm going to sit here and starve because I don't want food and necessities to keep me alive because I don't like what Trump said. I'm not calling them people. Like, if that's somebody doing that, God bless them, but they're not for this world. Yeah, they're not meant to survive this world. Like, they can't be here. It is a level of moron that is just, it's self-destructing. I mean, it's what's going to happen. You can't, people watch you say this and they didn't get at you and throw eggs. No one there threw a tomato or nothing. How can you say something like that? A dog. Dogs are smart. A moth knows how to fly towards the light. Right? They don't even have a brain, they just have senses. Nervous system. I don't know, guys.
That is there for them. That is there for them. That's our focus here.
But President Biden is fond of saying, show me your budget and I will tell you what you value. If he's got money for people in Lebanon right now, without Congress having to come back, what does it say about his values? There's not enough money right now for people in North Carolina who need it. That's not misinformation.
Wait, no, that is your whole premise of the question is misinformation, sir. What you don't, yes, it's misinformation.
Is there money to send to Lebanon right now?
I just mentioned to you that we provided more than $200 million to folks who are impacted in the area, and I just shared with you that people are deciding not to. People are deciding not to.
Wait. To Congress that there's not enough money to help people in North
Carolina. We're talking about the SBA disaster loan.
That's money for people in North Carolina.
And that's important, and people in North Carolina need that. Wait, this is nothing new. Peter, this is nothing new. Congress comes together, they provide money, millions of dollars, for disaster relief. We're asking them to do the job that they have been doing for some time.
From a letter that President Biden sent to Johnson, McConnell, Schumer, and Jeffries. The president's letter is not misinformation. Would you agree?
No, the way you're asking me the question is misinformation. There's money that we are allocating to the impacted areas, and there's money there to help people who truly need it. There are survivors who need the funding, and it's there.
That you don't like misinformation.
I actually said we have the money available to help survivors of Hurricane Helene and also Hurricane Milton. Now, there's going to be a shortfall, right? Because we don't know how bad Hurricane Milton is going to be. And so we're going to need additional funding. That's
exactly what I just asked about. And you said it was misinformation. Yes.
What you're asking me is why Congress needs to come back and do their job. That's what you're asking me. Congress needs to come back and do their job and provide extra assistance, extra funding to disaster relief fund. That's what Congress needs to do, and we're going to continue to urge that. You may not want that, but that's okay. That's what this president wants, and that's what the vice president wants. Thanks, everybody.
When is this gonna be over, man? I'm tired of it, man. This is garbage. I'm tired of it. It's garbage. I don't think the problem is we got too much money to spend. You know, folks, I got one more story I want to go to, but I gotta say this, folks. I watched too many videos of what I consider to be reputable people saying FEMA was not even allowing citizens to conduct rescues of their own neighbors. Because they wanted everything to go through them. But now you want to gaslight about something Trump said, because he said you guys are, this FEMA did something with money and they split money and they put money over here and money over there when the money needs to go right here. Like, that's like a basic criticism. That $750 initial money should be a lot higher than that. First of all, but I covered that in a full video. So there's a lot of criticism that people have from FEMA. That doesn't mean that they're criticizing, does not mean that they are not interested in getting help. Yeah, they're interested in getting help. That's why they're being critical, because they're not getting the help. And why would you stop? Not you, but why? Someone's going to have to tell me at some point. There needs to be a report done. Or why FEMA would stop people from helping one another. That don't make sense. I thought Biden put out a directive for us to help each other. I thought that was something they actually put out there. And then we found out FEMA saying, no, don't help. We got this. And if you try to help, we'll lock you up. You want to arrest people for rescuing people. Where they do that at? How that makes sense? But you don't want anybody to say, now it's, I don't know, it's way too, I think it's very basic. The Democratic Party is concerned about optics and how things look for them. Republican Party is concerned about making those optics look as horrible as possible. And that's what politics is. But at the end of the day, it's not a false statement to say you took money from FEMA and put it over there. And if the money wasn't over there going another place, there'll be more money here for these survivors and rescues. Okay? That's a very reasonable claim to make. And you saying, oh, that money don't get counted. That's not their money. That's not money for disaster relief, because we already took it out the budget and put it over there. Well, that's good for people to know. So now we thought a certain amount of money was going towards undocumented people and new arrivals. Now we need to now we're finding out other agencies are also putting money. So it's not just all the money we thought that they were getting. There's even more money that's coming out. And which only adds some more criticism, because is it not a disaster that we got homeless people on the streets of this country who paid into this country? That we have homeless Americans on the streets? Why isn't that a disaster? If helping undocumented people cross the border falls under FEMA, why doesn't homeless Americans fall under FEMA? Does it? Or is it only in a natural disaster? All right, guys. I got one last story, folks. Can I get a like, please? Can we get some likes? Get some likes here, guys. We got one more story we want to get to. I know it's getting a little late here, but I got to hit them one more time, fam. Man. Corinne Jean-Pierre. She's a spin artist. That's her job. That's a horrible job to have. Wake up every day and say, I got to go in here and lie. She's lasted a lot longer than I expected her to. They usually run through these people. She's been hanging in there. She must go do a lot of spa days. Goodness gracious. Okay, guys. Last story, but this is going to take a bit because this is MSNBC decided to come out of their lofty perch and go and see what the poor people was talking about. Yeah, they decide they want to go ask regular Americans, what do they think about Kamala versus Trump and why?
And talk to a group of nearly 60 members of UA Local 85. To get a better sense of what is happening in this hotly contested state among this critical group of voters, we went right down to ground zero and talked to a group of nearly 60 members of UA Local 85, a union group of plumbers, steam fitters, and HVAC technicians at their union hall in Saginaw County. We talked about the upcoming election, how many of them remain undecided, and what might make them more decided. Even with so much of this election riding on their vote and two such diametrically opposed candidates to choose from, a lot of these folks remain very much up for grabs. There is also a fairly stark generational divide among these union members, but maybe not the kind you would expect. What you're about to hear is critical in understanding why this race remains so very close and why its outcome may not even be clear on election night. It is a fascinating, complicated snapshot from the front lines of the 2024 election.
Okay, so we're going to this first guy they're going to go to. It's just going to basically ask him, hey, who you riding with? And this guy's response is very telling about regular Americans, working class Teamster members, and what's going on with them and how they see this whole 2024 election.
Take a look.
All right, so by a show of hands, how many of you are paying close attention to this election? Okay, I'm going to say that's like half the audience. Is anybody undecided? Okay.
I'm undecided.
Hold on. Before we get to, hold on. Did you notice how many people were paying attention to the election? Like half the room. Only half the people raised their hand that they even tune into this stuff. And then when she says, how many people are undecided, only about 5 hands went up. And that's me being generous, because it looked like less than half. Less than 5. It looked like 3. But I'm going to go with 5 because where the camera was. So let me get this right. Only half the room is paying attention to the election, but only 5 people are undecided. So we got a lot of people that are not paying attention, but they already made their minds. Get what I'm saying? They're not paying attention to any of this crap. They made their minds up before any of this crap happened, Johnson. What makes, now look, sounds like that's a Trump crowd. Because if you're not paying attention, you already know about Trump, right? You already know everything about, man, he's run 3 times. He's won the nomination for his party 3 times. Kamala, no times. Most people don't know much about Kamala. So they basically, just doing the math, I'm thinking there are people that are wondering about Kamala, but they're siding with Trump.
Decided because I just haven't seen enough of it yet. I need to pay closer attention and kind of do more independent research before I make my judgment.
What have you caught of this campaign? Have there been news stories about the candidates that have made its way to your information feed?
Not particularly. It's just how people kind of act around this time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little crazy, so I try not to partake so much.
Yeah, man. I think it's important, man, to pay attention to this, man. Real people got other things going on. They are not focused on this election like that. What we do here, that makes us in our own bubble. As you can see, these working class folks are not fixated on this at all. This guy say, man, it's negative. I try not to focus on negativity. Let a player live. Okay, guy number 2, he's going to talk about what's important to him. And Alice Wagner, because she works for MSNBC, I know this is going to hurt. Hey, guys, hit the like button for me real quick. Let's get to 500. Can we get to 500 likes? Can we do it? And let's go to guy number 2.
Is this anybody here is voting for the first time? Is this anybody's first election? You guys back here. What's sort of made its way across your radar? Any stories or issues or positions?
Mostly just immigration.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? What about immigration have you been paying attention to?
There are thousands and thousands of illegal immigrants coming across the border every day, and the vice president has done minimal work to fix that, based on what I've seen. So I'd like that to change.
Do you feel like Donald Trump's going to be better on that issue?
Based on what we've seen on his first 4 years, I do believe that he will be better on that, yeah.
Are you leaning towards Trump right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything that Vice President Harris could do at this point to change your mind?
Not particularly, no. Unless she changes her stance completely on fixing the border. That's no.
Ow! Ow! Wowza! That's gonna leave a mark. Yeah, he didn't sound like he had conflicted, thoughts in his head or nothing. Seems like he pretty much had his mind made up there, Alex. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's just a racist. That's probably what it is. It's gotta be racist that he cares about the border. Should be caring about the border. It's a young guy. Why is he caring about the border? Oh, that's right, jobs. Resources. Yeah, okay. It'd be different if people had enough resources. If people had jobs that paid well enough and everybody was just chilling. But no, man, people have concerns and people are unstable and things are not, the inflation's too high. And it's just another thing to be concerned about. Let's go to guy number 3. She's going to ask this guy, and this guy's going to tell her another point blank. Guy number 3, remember, these are just working class folks.
Some things, but as of right now, it's kind of hard to know. Yeah, it is.
And have you been paying attention to stuff?
Some things, but as of right now, it's kind of hard to know what is true and what's false as far as both parties are concerned.
Like, what issue matters to you the most?
Definitely are issues concerning democracy and what was discussed before the border.
What about immigration concerns you?
The influx in illegal immigration is affecting a lot more than just the people, but our economy, we're losing jobs for the people who live here. People are, running out of work, and in return, it's making life as a whole for the country harder.
Do you feel like one candidate or the other is better on that issue?
Like I said, I don't know what to believe from what I'm seeing from multiple news outlets and what comes across my news feed and whatnot. So I'm not super opinionated either way.
How do you think you're going to ultimately decide? I know we talked to one gentleman who said, I think I'm just going to kind of go with my heart on election day.
As the election comes a little closer, I think the more I see and the more truth that ends up coming out, I'll be able to make a more educated.
Yeah. He's trying to be nice. He's going Trump. Yeah. See what I'm saying, guys? You could tell, like, everything he was saying sounded Trump-like. He said the influx. I bet you he's never used the word influx before. You maybe said reflux as an acid reflux. Maybe playing a video game and said reflexes. He probably never used the word influx. He had to go through his Rolodex of words. Had to go through his memory block, his memory stick, to find that word. Oh, yeah, I remember I was watching a news show. They used the word influx instead of saying, it's too many damn people coming across the damn border. That's what he wants to say, but he knows he will get ridiculed for that. And see, folks, that's why I be telling people, Donald Trump underperforms in polls because of this very situation. 8 years of stigma, 8 years of stink on a person makes you not want to say you support him. And that's what's going on with those people. Now, I don't have that problem. I'll say who I support. Not Trump, dummy. But not Biden either, dumb. You know what I'm saying? But I don't work with a bunch of guys I got to see every day. And maybe my wife or my kids or whatever in his position, I don't know what he is. Maybe he's not. Maybe he don't want his mom to know. Maybe he wants it to remain private. So it's a lot of reasons. But what I'm saying is these polls they keep on telling you about where they put Kamala this place and that place. I don't think they're accurate, Johnson. I just don't. I think people don't like sharing this information. And I just don't think Kamala has really sold people, other than the people that are going to automatically go with her because they got to go with a Democrat, or they'll be struck by lightning. Or thrown out of their church. At least if they did it publicly. Guy number 4. They're going to ask him. It's going to be more of the same, folks.
As a candidate. Is that going to matter to you? How many people care about whether their union endorses a candidate? Is that going to matter to you?
So it matters to me what my union endorses because the union provides me with work and directly affects my pocketbook and my family.
If the union doesn't endorse a candidate and you're left, to decide on your own, first of all, do you think you're definitely going to vote?
I'm definitely going to vote.
How do you think you're going to ultimately make that decision?
I think I'm still going to be conflicted in the voting line.
Really? So literally a game time call?
I think so.
Is it going to matter what your fellow union members are doing?
It's going to matter.
Do you guys talk about it?
Yeah, it's definitely a hot topic.
And is there disagreement?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a disagreement because anybody who's not voting Trump, someone steps on their sandwich. Yeah, that's no, I'm joking, man. But like, who knows what's going on? Who knows what's going on? I will say this, man. Good point, man. He's sitting there at his company, the union meeting with all his union brothers and sisters, but probably some union head people and whatever there. And it's like, do you care what your union does with who they endorse? Will that affect you? He's like, yeah, it'll affect me. Yeah. Of course I care. Is Bob here? Yeah, Bob sees over in the corner. Oh, yeah, I care a whole lot, man. Man, yeah, man, they put food on my table, man, and they will be take care of my kids. Yeah. Like, are you getting an honest answer out of this guy? And he said, yeah, he's going to consider what his union does. Well, the Teamster Union decided not to endorse anyone. And to me, given that 95% of our media is Kamala in liberal, right, center, left of right, left, leaning, center, corporate, sellout, more war, screw the poor, corporate Democrats. I'm thinking by not picking Kamala, they just chose Trump. That's how I see it. If they didn't choose Kamala, they chose Trump. Not because I'm on that weird math where a vote for Dr. West or Dr. Stein is a vote for Trump. Nah, but because they're going to choose one of the major candidates because that's what they would do. But the fact that they haven't chose Kamala says everything. That says everything. Also means they can't get retaliated against later. But we all know that would happen anyway, because if you're not with me, you're against me. You're not with me, you're against me. You don't vote for me, you ain't black. Hold up, that's right, I dropped out. Guy number 5, or there's guys. Number 5, these series of men are going to talk about what's important to them. Check this out, guys. This is important.
Is an issue.
Yes, I actually just recently purchased a home. So, yes, I do think that it is too high. It's just the cost of a livable, move-in ready home nowadays is just absurd, I think, in my opinion, to where before I feel like you could buy a house for a reasonable price and it not have to have a ton of work put into it.
I just recently purchased a house as well. And this house has gone up $50,000 in the past 5 years. So, I mean, just looking at the prices in the past 5 years, why has it gone up so much? What can we do to bring it back down to what it was?
We're fortunate enough, our wages been able to keep up with inflation, but a lot of people, they haven't been so fortunate, and they have to choose between paying bills, buying food, putting food on the table, so I think that's going to play a big factor in this election.
Yeah. People concerned about buying homes, people that bought homes, they're looking at the cost of homes. We got Kamala Harris with this plane coming out about homes. And guys, I got to say, man, unless you get the price of goods and services down, even giving people some money on their down payment of their home, I don't think it makes that all that much of a bigger difference. Yeah, man, I was doing some research on this because I wanted to kind of give people an idea because I know they hear the number, they say $25,000, that sounds like a lot of money. And then you hear me say, it's not a lot of money. Like, what? That's a lot of money. That's because you think somebody's going to put 25 grand in your hand. They're not. So It's on a book, in an office, in a spreadsheet, in an algorithm, or in a software utility for the lending company, the financial instrument. That's the calculations when they do the numbers. But here, so I was looking up. I said, what's assuming a 30-year fixed rate mortgage? And I chose high. I chose 3% interest rate. And no PMI. The monthly payment for a $450,000 house. I looked up. I said, like, what's a good place in Pennsylvania, suburban location, Pennsylvania? The average price of a home, it was like $450 to like $550. Single family home. Okay. I think the town was Phoenixville. Okay. 70% white, 10% black, 10% Latino, the rest Asian. In America, that's as diverse as you're going to get. Assuming a 30-year fixed rate mortgage with a 3% interest rate, no PMI, the monthly payment for a $450,000 house with a $25,000 down payment will be approximately $1,770. In comparison, the monthly payment for the same house with a $15,000 down payment will be approximately $1,830. So the difference in monthly payments between $25,000 and $15,000 would be approximately $60 per month. Over the life of the loan. This difference would add up to around $21,000 in additional interest payments for the loan with the lower down payment. $60. So if you put down 25 grand, if you put 15 down, if you put 25 down, that's the difference in the amount. And that's considering that there's a lot of factors in that. So don't hold me, but I was just trying to put us in a ballpark so we can kind of understand when they're throwing these numbers out, what it really means. Getting that down payment, you still got to pay that mortgage, and you still got to qualify for the mortgage. I haven't heard anybody talk about qualifications. Same thing with the small businesses. I haven't heard anybody talk about qualifying to get a loan. Black people get turned down at very high rates for these loans. That's why we only get 7% of those loans, which is up from the 4% we were getting a couple years ago. It was 2 for the longest, and then went to 4. Now it's at 7, which is still like 5 points less than Latino Americans. We're still at the bottom. We just moved up a couple digits when it comes to SBA loans. But all this talking, all this touring Kamala's doing, and all these people, Magic Johnson, Steve Harvey, D.L. Hughley, Ricky Smiley, Oprah Winfrey, everybody coming out circling the wagons as if this talk is a major game changer. Everyone knows if you start a small business, $50,000, no tax, a tax deduction next year is not going to impact your being able to have money to buy the truck to start the business if you're doing a food truck, or the equipment you need to buy if you're doing this. If you wanted to invest in an actual set and buy the cameras and buy the lights and do everything, it shouldn't cost you 50 grand, but you get my point. The point is you need money to get started. You still got to market. You still got to do wardrobe so you can have a, flashy shirt like this. It should be buttoned. It's going to take all these things, you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate this from MSNBC. In fact, I'm kind of surprised they were able to get through the entire segment without totally gaslighting everyone. Of course, there were some segments where there was like an old guy in the crowd who was like, you don't know all the great things Joe Biden's done for us. People are looking at him like they want to chloroform his ass. You don't know all the great things Joe's done for us. You need to pull your head out your ass. You don't know how great Joe's been. The young guys is like, who let Bill in the room? Yeah, Johnson. And he was dressed differently than all the young guys you saw here who were not happy. He was dressed in a dress shirt. Like a little something on, but anyway. Anyway, guys, so I think there's a divide, not just in age, but a divide in class. So, guys, let me know what you think about this segment, man. It is what it is. I think Trump underperforms in his polling because people, it's proven it is. They kind of made their minds up. And it just also goes to show, we hear a lot of noise. Most Americans at the last minute, they kind of gonna make their minds up if they're being honest. And most of them made their minds up a long time ago. Yeah, long time ago. Long time ago. All right, now. Let's go to the comment section. Anybody said any anything else happened? Nobody else said anything. Wilson said something. Hey, Wilson sent me a super sticker. Thank you, Wilson, for tuning into the show. Thank you for supporting the show, Wilson. All right, Buck, that's it for me, man. I'm out of here. Thank everybody for supporting us. Remember, we do this every day at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't let nobody take your cornbread. Don't fall for the okie doke of the independent or the corporate media. My thing is, if you don't demand anything of powerful people, you never get anything. Because no one respects anything except a demand. And that's my biggest complaint with Kamala supporters. They're not demanding anything. And I don't think that's how you do business. I just don't. And fear of an orange planet ain't enough for me. Could be enough for you, that's fine. It's not enough for me. It's not enough. No. Go be afraid. But yeah, imagine being so afraid of something that already happened. You would think people would be resistant to the nonsense. How could you be so afraid of something that you just experienced? Well, now it's really going to be bad. All right, man. It just don't make sense for me. All right, I'm Tim at TimBlackTV.com. And I'm also TimBlackTV.com is my website. Don't forget, go to presidentialimpact.com, get a copy of my free ebook, and understand the power that presidents have, even if Congress don't play nice. They can still get things done. They are still powerful people in a powerful position. Believe that. Nothing but love for you. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, Buck, for what you do. Thank you to the whole crew holding it down. I appreciate y'all. Thank you, Kirk. Thank you, LS. Thank you, Aaron. Sylvie Walker, what's going on? Some Kitty, how you doing? Aaron Rocha. Black Topaz. Thank you, Black Topaz. Robert Downton once again. Casey McCoy. Joey Zero. Michelle Bell, thank you. I appreciate y'all. Craig, what's up, man? Good to see you. Craig in the house. What's up, Craig? Arlene Chambers is in the house once again. Doreen. Oh, that's Darren. Darren Deal. What's up, Darren? I appreciate y'all. G. Hogan. For real, man, the nerve of some people. Right. L. Harris. Charles, what's up, man? Yeah, man. I think we did a good job tonight, man. You know, please share tonight's show. Arlene Chambers. Thank you, Arlene. Wolfpack love, Wolfpack power. Become a member of the Wolfpack by going to Tim's Take Live on Patreon.com. Join us in our community. We are growing. We're getting bigger, and it's where independent media happens, man. I appreciate y'all. I'll see y'all on the next one. And as always, I gotta go find out where my lady's at.